And I don't see Ron, but we are live.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. This is Kim McGuire. I am the school counseling coordinator for Savannah Chatham County Schools, and we are delighted that you are here to join us today to learn more about this exciting new internship opportunity that is available with Georgia Power. So I'm going to let our guests introduce themselves, and then we will get started with the presentation. One note that I would like to make, you will see in our chat here that there is a sign-in link. Please make sure, no matter if you're a student, parent, teacher, or other guests, please make sure that you sign in this morning so that we can make sure that we can get you any follow-up information should you need it. So now I will turn it over to our guests to begin introducing themselves. If we can begin with Mr. Grimes.
Hi, I'm Wayne Grimes. I am the education coordinator supervisor for Coastal North Region here in Savannah. And I've been working with the school systems here in our region for about 10 years. And I've been with the company now about 15 years.
Okay. Mr. Newton.
Good morning. I'm Clyde Newton, the Economic Development Liaison for Savannah Chatham County Public School System, and I also echo the sentiments of Ms. McGuire. We're very happy to have one of our major business partners, Georgia Power, working with us to share the career opportunities that they have in their organization with our schools, with our students that are in our schools. They have been very supportive to our district over the years, and we look forward to continuing that great partnership. So we thank them for their time.
Okay. And now I would like Ms. Walker to introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Marilyn Walker. I am Georgia Power's Workforce Development Coordinator. I've actually, as of yesterday, as a matter of fact, have been with Southern Company for 35 years. I've been in this role for about 5 years. And in this role, I have the opportunity to work with our community leaders, education community, and students as far as workforce development and actually assisting students in finding a career where they can work with the company and with other utility companies in the state, making a very good livable wage to take care of themselves and their families.
Okay. Well, what we're going to do now, and the questions, and students, if you have questions as we're going through this presentation, you can put them in the chat and we will answer them as we go through. We will make sure that we answer all of those as best as we can. Also, we did have some students who submitted questions in advance of this event, and we will make sure that those questions are answered as well. Very quickly, before we get started with the rest of the presentation, Mr. Akins, can you just briefly introduce yourself?
Good morning, I'm Ron Akins. I'm the district level work-based learning coordinator. Each school or each high school has a work-based learning program and you have a work-based learning coordinator. And so I coordinate the programs for the entire school district. I'm always interested in providing you guys with opportunities for future employment. And so this is a great opportunity and a partnership that we're really looking forward to.
Okay, thank you. All right, now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Walker, who is going to share a presentation with us. And then after the presentation, we will get into our questions and answers. Students, teachers, parents, again, please put those questions that you may have in the chat, and we'll make sure that we are answering those as we go throughout this presentation. All right, Ms. Walker, you can go ahead if you'd like to share your screen now, and then we will get started.
Okay, please let me know if you can see my screen. Can everyone see that?
Not quite.
Okay, let me try one other thing here. Once again, not a good time to have a new computer. I might be talking through everything.
All right, we are able to see your screen.
Okay, good deal. Okay, once again, Marilyn Walker, Workforce Development Education with our company here. And what I'm going to do is share a little bit about our strategy here at Georgia Power Company as far as our workforce development organization is concerned. And I say workforce development, but I should be saying education and workforce development, because we are here to make students, teachers, counselors, our community partners aware of the various jobs that are available on that skilled labor side in the utility industry as well. And at one point we were doing in-person events so that we could see those students face to face. They could meet and talk with some of the actual employees that participated or that actually do the work as far as line work is concerned, metering tech, network undergrounds, those high demand skilled labor jobs. But now we've taken that virtually, so they're virtual career days. We want to build a pipeline, and we have a team of people that do this. Myself is just a team of actually two. Myself and Jamal Jesse are our workforce development team, but we are part of a bigger team, which includes our education coordinators and our community and economic development group. And we also work very closely with our local leadership with Georgia Power Company. And we also, that team works with our communities statewide. We want to engage those communities, like I said, either with our education group, our community leaders, our support, those organizations that provide support to the people that are out there looking to either reskill, upskill, or find employment. With our schools, we're working with those schools, those college and career academies, CTAE programs, athletic programs, those programs that might have those students that we're looking for that are interested in this type job. We also partner with U Science, and U Science provides it's a profile to basically students take a test of sorts. You're not graded. They're just looking to find your interest and your aptitude as far as what you want to do, the type career you want to pursue. So we work pretty closely with U Science as well. We work with our work source boards. All of us are faced with challenges at times. So there are a lot of work source boards out there that provide support services or wraparound services. If you might need childcare, housing, or a ride to work, or any of those type things, or simply counseling to help you find your direction. That's what those work source boards are for as well. We work pretty closely with our technical college school systems here in Georgia. They have two programs that we promote pretty heavily that our technical schools provide a very good training and education for, and those programs are ELAC and EUT. And I know throwing out acronyms now, ELAC, of course, is the Electrical Line Worker Apprentice Certification, and EUT is Electrical Utility Technologies. That ELAC program helps prepare students to become, they provide that necessary training for them to become a better line worker. So we rely heavily on our technical college systems to help provide that training. And of course, the EUT helps prepare those students. That's a 2-year program, as opposed to an 8-week program for the ELAC program. There's a 2-year program that helps prepare those students to go into an engineering rep training role. And if at any time you have any questions, please stop me. I want this to be an interactive session here, so please just stop me. Kim, just jump in there and let me know if someone has an immediate question. Some of the schools that we work pretty closely with Okay, I see hand raised.
Yeah, I've got a question. Could you, the acronyms that you're calling out, ELAC and EUT, could you kind of expound on and those and tell folks what those mean, what those acronyms stand for?
I sure can. ELAC is Electrical Line Worker Apprentice Certification. That's an 8-week program that's offered at 6 of our technical colleges. Within that program, you're going to have 3 weeks. It used to be in person prior to the pandemic, of course. Used to be in person, in class work that you're doing. And then an additional 5 weeks of physical training where you're going to work with learning the tools, climbing, and just working better as a team. So that ELAC program, once again, is Electrical Line Worker Apprentice Certification. EUT is Electrical Utility Technologies, and that program is offered by 2 of the colleges that we currently work with, and that's at Savannah Tech and Lanier Tech. Those programs help prepare those students to become engineering reps. And once again, that's an associate's degree, actually, and you can actually transition that into working toward a 4-year degree at some of our colleges here in the state as well. But that's a 2-year program offered at the technical schools here in the state. Have any other questions? Okay, and I'll jump back over to the technical schools that we work more closely with as far as ELAC is concerned, that electrical line worker training is concerned, simply because that's where we have the biggest gap here at Georgia Power and in other utilities. And when I said biggest gap, we've had some of our employees either through attrition, either through retirement, or receiving promotions, or simply because they're really good employees. And other companies have actually come in and hired them, especially those companies that are in the northeast or northwest part of the US. California right now is hurting as far as electrical line workers are concerned. So they came in and swooped up a few of our employees, as well as some of New York and Pennsylvania. Those are 2 other states that have came in and taken some of our workers as well. Also retirement. I guess because a lot of our high schools were not making students aware of some of the jobs that were available without a 4-year college education, we don't have a pipeline. So that's what we're doing now. We're working on building that pipeline for electrical line workers. And we're making students, teachers, parents, community leaders aware that these jobs are here. They pay well, ton of good benefits are offered at most companies, but especially here at Georgia Power Company. So we're working to close that gap of line workers that are needed. Also, we also want to make these are very honorable type jobs, very good careers that will last 20, 30, 40 years in some instances. So we want to make our communities aware these jobs are available and they are in very high demand. So we are partnering with our religious leaders, our workforce boards, our education systems, our technical colleges, and our region partners here at Georgia Power are also a big part of this as well. And the reason for all of this, we want the students to know there are direct hire opportunities. Once again, want to make you aware. And we want to build a talent pipeline. We don't want to be in this shortage right now of electrical line workers. So we are working to build that pipeline. So That's why we're here today, is to work on that, to make you aware of the jobs, and to start building that pipeline. And all of that to say that we have some opportunities available this summer. So if you know any students that are scheduled to graduate this year, 2021, May 2021, or that possibly graduated last year in 2020. And the reason we're making the offer back to those students that may have graduated in 2020 is because of the pandemic. We did not have the opportunity to offer as many internships as we actually wanted to last year. We usually offer anywhere from 25 to 40 internships each year, and we were simply not able to do that. And what you see here on my screen is where we're going to place most of those students throughout the state. Savannah, Hinesville, Brunswick area will have an opportunity to hire at least 6 interns, possibly more, depending on our candidate pool, and we will simply work with our power delivery teams to see if we can possibly do more. But right now, for sure, we will have at least interns in your area, at least 6. Metro Atlanta Network Underground, and that area, of course, is for that area around Metro Atlanta counties. Some of the counties may include like Clayton, Henry, Gwinnett, Cobb, if you're familiar with Atlanta. We'll have at least 1 in Valdosta, 2 Macon, Athens will have 1, Rome will have 1, Columbus 1. And then you'll see the bottom 2 categories there are shared services. Those are metering services and repair shop. Those are primarily in the Atlanta area, but we could have possibly 1 in Savannah as well. So that might be an additional intern in Savannah that could fall into that area as well. Transmission group will be for the higher, stronger lines, transmission lines, and construction of those lines. Those is where those will be in the Metro Atlanta area. So there's some opportunities to hire at least 6 interns in the Savannah area, possibly more, depending on the need there. Also, what we're doing to help those students prepare, not just for the internship, but possible full-time employment with Georgia Power, we're doing what's called a CAST boot camp. And CAST is that construction and skill trade test. That's a test, once taken, it is good for life. If you pass it, of course. You have to, of course, pass it, but once you pass it, it's good for life. You can use it anywhere with any utility in the state of Georgia if you're wanting to be in that line worker career. Anywhere in the state of Georgia, throughout the US, once passed, this test is good. So you don't have to take it again, and that's a major hurdle. So please remember that. We've had some of our students, some of our candidates that have had issues passing this test, not because they're not intelligent enough, not because they don't have the ability, simply because some of it is that anxiety. So we're trying to assist with maybe lowering some of that anxiety. It is a time test. I myself don't test well when it comes to taking tests under a little pressure when it comes to time. So we're trying to familiarize the students with the test, actually familiarize them with what's on that test, so that they'll be prepared for it. And part of what's on that test, as stated earlier, is time. Be calm, take a deep breath, go for it. Cognitive reasoning, reading comprehension, graphic math, and mechanical concepts. We're going to familiarize the students with that. If In most cases, students have at least an 8th or a 9th grade math proficiency. They're usually going to be familiar with that. We're just going to reintroduce them in some cases to it and make them a little bit more comfortable with it, make them a little bit more comfortable with some of the terminology used as well. That will help them pass this test. The CAS boot camp will be held starting February 23rd. That's a Tuesday. Then the next session is February 25th. And then, of course, the next week is March 2nd and 4th, which are also Tuesdays and Thursdays. And you'll notice the time is from 5 to 8 p.m. We did that to assist those candidates that are possibly in school from 8 to 3 or from 8 to 3:30 or 8:30 to 3:30, whatever the case may be. Also, we have candidates that might actually be in full-time jobs where they're working during the day also. So we're doing this boot camp after hours to accommodate those people that might actually be in jobs or be in school. So it's an excellent time to familiarize yourself with this test. So if you can take advantage of this session, please, please, please let us know about that. All I'll need, of course, from the candidates that are interested is a contact phone number and an email. We send you out study material to help prepare you for the boot camp itself. So not only do you have a little additional time to prepare for the boot camp, you prepare for that test a little bit in advance also. So one major hurdle, if they can do the boot camp with us and pass this CAS test, that's a major, major, major hurdle that they pass. These jobs are great. Do you want a career with Georgia Power as a line worker? If so, you got a challenging environment. Most of the work, if you are interested, is of course outside, outdoors. You're in the environment, with the exception of actual rain or snow. Our guys and gals are outdoors working. So you do have to contend with the elements. You are a highly skilled and valued employee. The pay is great. We'll talk about that, but starting usually pay is around about $48,000 starting as an apprentice lineman. Our internships this summer for the interns working this summer will be about $10 an hour. It is a paid internship. And you have a well-defined career path. Well-defined meaning opportunities are there. If you want to advance within this company, the opportunities are there. Whether you want to go to network underground, transmission, engineering, customer service, marketing, there are a myriad of opportunities once you become a part of Georgia Power's team. Their benefits are great, health and wellness programs, medical insurance, dental insurance, all of those things are part of the benefits that you will receive if you become a part of Georgia Power's team. So think about it. We want you to come and join us. And this simply is, and I'll make sure if Kimberly doesn't have this or whomever wants it, we have several flyers that actually explain a little bit more in detail the actual jobs and progression and some of the training that you can receive. We have one-pagers, technically two because it's front and back, that explain the job a little bit more in detail. And you can also visit our website, poweringcareers.com to learn a lot more about what we have going on as far as some of the other jobs are concerned. We can send you one-pagers on those as well, like metering services, engineering reps. We have all of those one-pagers that we can send out to anyone that might want them. And that concludes that particular presentation. If you have any questions, I will do my best. Wayne, of course, is here to assist if I don't have an answer for you. or if we don't have an answer for you right now, we will find out the answer and get that information back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Walker. We do have a couple of questions, some of them from Mr. Newton, and then also some that our students have asked regarding the presentation. And so great to see all of the different ways that Georgia Power interacts with our community. But one of the questions that I know came up previously, when we think of line workers, we're thinking about heights, I think, and you know, the conditions or the environment, you know, you're exposed to those elements. Can you perhaps just talk about that piece? Like, you know, does a student need to make sure that they're not afraid of heights
And
for
the
this
answer is
position?
yes, they do have to make sure that they're not afraid of height. On the line worker distribution side, I think the poles are usually about 90 feet. And Wayne, please correct me if I'm wrong.
It's not 90.
About 90 feet. So they will at times be at the top of that pole doing their work. And as stated, that work will be done in the elements, with the exception of rain, because as we know, water and rain don't mix. So we do have to wait till the rain stops to go up, but we will be doing that work. Our guys and gals that are on that line worker side of the work will be doing that work, whether it's 100 degrees outside or 15 below. They do that work outdoors in the elements.
And you also have to be, somewhat physically fit. There's a
Yes.
physical abilities test that you do have to pass before you can become a full-time employee and going through that training process. So that's a part of it too, being able to keep yourself in shape, because you have to sometimes tote heavy equipment.
And Wayne's absolutely correct on that point. We used to actually do, you would have to come to our training site to do that physical abilities test. Now that test is done in a clinical setting, but you will still have to lift weights. You still will have to be physically fit. There is a test, employment test involved in that as well, where you'll have to go into a clinic to actually do the physical part of the test. However, the climbing, they're going to make sure that you're not afraid of heights. There is a climbing test that will still be done at our training site in Lithonia or near Atlanta. So students do have to keep that in mind.
Okay. One question came up about the actual test itself, the exam, and we know that the CAS boot camp is designed to get students ready for the test. But one question is a test multiple choice? But then also, where do students go for that CAS boot camp? I believe you said it was virtual. So is it that when they sign up, they get a link, or how does that work?
Yes, that's correct. Once they sign up, once we have reached back out to them and make sure that they want to be a part of the CAS boot camp, and that's the reason for the email, we will send them a Zoom link so that they can be a part of this virtual CAS boot camp that we do.
Okay. And is the test multiple choice or short answer or a combination?
It's a combination, but primarily multiple choice. And we actually will send them through a battery of practice from this boot camp. So they will have an idea of what to expect, but it is primarily multiple choice.
Okay. One of the students, I think from Savannah High, also put in, you mentioned about challenges and that critical thinking component. So as an intern, would they be put in situations where, those problem solving and critical thinking skills are coming into play? And, how do you work with students through that? Are they matched up with, a group or a team of people, or it's like more of a one-to-one mentoring type process?
They will actually be a part of one of our line worker teams. So will be with a team. They will be doing the actual work, with the exception of climbing and driving the heavy machinery. They will do everything that our actual line workers teams do. So they will be evaluated every step of the way. So they need to keep that in mind, as are all of our employees. There are expectations. And I mentioned this before to in some of our previous conversations, that part of our culture is that, especially on that line worker side or power delivery side, they usually work from 7 to 3 or 7:30 to 3:30, Monday through Friday, barring call out. Our interns will not be a part of that call out, and they will not have to do any overtime. Uh, but the expectation is, if we start at 7, well, you might want to be there about 15 minutes early, because we do go through safety checks, because we want all of our workers, the way you come into work, we want you to go back home the same way, healthy and whole. So we do safety checks every morning. We check our equipment to make sure it's correct and in working order. We check our PPE, our safety equipment, to make sure it's going to do what it's supposed to do, keep you safe while you're doing the work.
Okay, you
And
mentioned PPE.
yeah,
Are the students required to bring their own PPE? And then we also had another question in our chat, what kind of equipment would a student need going into this particular program? So would they need to bring any of their own equipment, and are they responsible for their own PPE?
They are not responsible for bringing any equipment or providing their own PPEs. We will provide all of that. As a matter of fact, there's an allowance given so that they can purchase safety boots and several safe outfits, pants and shirts to wear while they're working. We will provide them with all of their PPEs, their hard hat, gloves, and things of that nature. So no, they don't need to bring anything with them. We'll provide all of that.
and,
Okay.
and just to piggyback on that, PPE stands for personal protection equipment. And as Marilyn says, Georgia Power provides all of that. And because we, some jobs are what we call safety sensitive, then, basically as you become an intern, you have to follow all of the same rules that we in the company have to follow in terms of medication. Some people may be taking allergy medicines and things of that nature, where there's protocol before you come to work. So you have to be aware of all of those issues, and they provide all of that training, and they talk about all of that stuff with the employees beforehand. So just to inform you about that, and keep you aware that that is a part of the culture here, that safety culture. They begin every day with work with a safety briefing before they go and do the job, and then after the job, they talk about some of the things that they encountered with respect to safety during the job. So they debrief after the job as well about safety.
Okay.
And all candidates must be drug, other than of course prescription drugs, drug and nicotine free as well. Mm-hmm. They have to be drug and nicotine free. So keep that in mind.
Okay. 2 additional questions, and then we do have some questions about, like I have people saying, well, how can I sign up? So we're going to make sure we get to that part as well. One, you mentioned, a lot of times people think that these are positions that are just for men, but you mentioned in the flyers that you have, and by the way, students, your CTAE teachers, work-based learning coordinators, and your counselors all have those flyers that Ms. Walker mentioned. They have all of those available. But you mentioned women being in this field. So, they don't need to be afraid of saying, well, this isn't for me because I'm a female. I can't do this. I can't meet the physical requirements. You're saying this is open to anyone that's in that class of 2020 or the class of 2021.
That is correct. Unfortunately, currently we only have two females on our line workers. But and they are as different as night and day. Heidi is about 6 feet tall, very muscle bound as a female. Um, and Jane, I believe is the other young lady's name, is about 5'2", uh, and not muscle bound, but she does the work. She is very physically fit and able to do the work, and that's the primary requirement. You just have to be physically able to do the work, not be afraid of heights. We are trying desperately to get more females in these roles because it does pay well. It does allow you to take care of your family. So if we have any females out there listening, please consider this as a career option. Uh, we want to double, triple, quadruple the number of women that we currently have in these roles. So yes, it is open to anyone that has the aptitude and interest in doing this particular job.
Okay. You also mentioned your work with technical colleges as well as four-year universities. Are there specific, and I know you mentioned 3 schools that you primarily work with for training, but are there any specific four-year schools that you work with as well?
We work with the four-year universities, but it does not require a four-year degree. So that's primarily why we do most of the work with our technical schools. You are literally doing 8 weeks of training with our technical school to get into the line worker role. If you're wanting to go into engineering rep role, you're doing a 2-year associate's degree with our technical college. It does not require a 4-year degree. So that's why primarily most of our work is done with our technical schools.
Okay. All right. So that's great to know because we're talking about you can come out of high school, go into this position, and for an intern, the starting pay is
$10 an hour.
okay. And you're talking about a 40-hour week. And then if they are hired in that full-time permanent position, I think on the flyer it mentioned something about 45,000.
It's about 48. It actually went up a little bit. So it's actually about 48K a year that you're making. And I think that equates to about, my math is a little off, maybe about $22, $23 an hour.
Yeah.
So it more than doubles what you're making as an intern. Very good career, and the opportunity to increase that pay doubles in about 4 years. But they're also, remember, you're also getting raises and increases in pay along the way. But you're going through that training. Once you become a full-time employee, you're still going to get even more training. You're going through about 23, 24 weeks of actual training at our center in Klondike, at our Klondike Training Center. In about 4 years after doing the work, working with our teams, you're going to become a journeyman. And that pay is around 80K a year. But with the overtime, you're easily making a 6-figure salary, So you have an opportunity. We do a lot of partnering with other utility companies when they're having weather events that may have taken out power. So you're going to have an opportunity to see a little bit more of the U.S. as far as helping other utilities companies bring their customers back on and restoring service during huge weather events. So the opportunity to make a six-figure salary happens in about 4 years.
Wow, I haven't gone the college route if I wasn't afraid of heights. Because I know as a college grad, that was not what I was making. After having completed that, I don't regret my choice, however, but I'm just stating, if this is something you're interested in, students, you've really got to take advantage of this opportunity. It's a great opportunity, to not only get on the job training, they're paying for your equipment. You're actually able to get some training through a technical school, earn some credits, but also that salary. And so, the last question I have from our students, how do I sign up? As I stated, our work-based learning coordinators have this information. Our CTAE teachers have this information. Our counselors have it. But where else? If I'm just, I want to do this today, what do I need to do to move forward?
What we'll do, and I sent out a flyer earlier. Unfortunately, it had a broken link on there to actually to apply for the internship. I will send a new link out today. I will send that to you, Kimberly, and to others, and you can disseminate that with your counselors. And we ask that you actually share this with your students. For me, I will make sure an email address is included. So if they are actually interested in doing the CAS boot camp, they'll need to send me their name and a contact phone number, and I'll reach out to them so that they can participate in that. But if they are interested in the internship, there will be a link at the bottom of the posting that I will send to you and that you will disseminate with the rest of your coworkers. They'll just need to apply. There are going to be some questions on there that they'll need to answer. And we'll go through that interview process. We need them to, however, be interested in doing line work. They have to be interested in doing line work. We have to know that you're not afraid of heights, that you're not afraid of being outdoors, working in the elements, because that's where you will be doing the work. If I had this opportunity way back, I probably would have taken advantage of it as well. I was not afraid of heights. And I was physically able at the time, way back, to do it, but I wasn't aware. So now we're trying to make sure students, parents, counselors, teachers are aware of these jobs. And that these students, in a matter of about 6 months after graduating, if they put in the work as an intern, if they get the training in our ELAC program, if they pass all the pre-examination work needed to become an employee, they could be making 48 grand a year. I didn't make anywhere close to that when I graduated college. So it's, and that's after 4 years. This is after about 6 months. They could be making about 48 grand a year, which is pretty good for most 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
Ms. Walker, I remember starting out here in Chatham County as a teacher at 18.5. So that's real good. A couple other questions, Ms. Walker, for you. Is the boot camp do students have to go through the CAS boot camp before having the opportunity to take on an internship?
No, they do not have to go through CAS boot camp. It's just one of those things, like I said, will help you pass one of those hurdles when it comes up. They don't have to do it. It's a good idea, I think, to do it if possible, but no, they do not have to do it.
Okay. And once they take the test, how long does it take to get their results? And can they retest if they don't do well the first time?
They'll, yes and yes. They usually get their results usually a day later, 2 at the very most. They'll have their results. And if they don't pass that CAS test the first time, they can take it again in 45 days. It is by invite only, so they will have to make sure that they are in touch with our HR specialist that handles this for us. But yes, they can retake that CAS test in 45 days if they don't pass it first time.
Okay. All right. Do we have any other questions, students? We're about to wrap up. We know that there's another class session that's getting ready to start. Again, that sign-in link to record your attendance for today is in the chat. Please make sure that you are using that to sign in. One question that just popped up. Yes, this is just open to the class of 2020 or the class of 2021. Our juniors, you can start preparing now, perhaps for next year, and getting all of the information, but this is just open to students who have already graduated in the class of 2020 or those who are preparing to graduate in the class of 2021. One other question came in: when and where do they actually take the CAS test?
There are locations throughout the state. I don't have all of those, but they usually try to make sure you can test within 25 miles of your actual location. So, but they are throughout the state. Also, one thing that I want to make sure I mention is that we do need, all those applying, you do need to have a valid driver's license, because at some point you will have to have a CDL permit, not an actual license, but you will have to have a permit, CDL permit. So, and in order to get that permit, you have to have a valid driver's license.
And I do know locally here in Savannah that the test is given at our one of our sites here locally. 3100 Kilowatt Drive has been a consistent testing site. So just to answer that question.
Okay. So there are some local testing sites, but then there are some that are also throughout the state, because this is an opportunity. Students, keep in mind, they're looking for 6 people here in Savannah, Chatham, but you are, a lot of students across the state are participating in this program or competing to get in with this program. So,
and you will have to interview for the internships. So you're,
okay.
Keep in mind, you are competing against other students. Or candidates, you do have to interview.
Okay, so that's a competitive process, not a guarantee here, as far as being accepted for this program. So we're about to wrap up here. I really want to thank all of our guests for sharing this information with our students. Like you said, there are multiple routes to careers, a lot of which don't require you, to put out a whole lot of money. You have an organization here where you're going to get training. They're providing you with equipment, and it won't cost you anything but to take the time, complete the application, go through the CAS testing and do your best, and then opportunities to grow with a company that is connected to the community. And, that's something that, will help meet, all of your needs as being a well-rounded person. So again, students, if you were interested, class of 2020, class of 2021, please reach out to your school's work-based learning coordinator. If you're not sure who that work-based learning coordinator is, you can reach out to Mr. Ronald Akins, who is our district work-based learning coordinator. His email is simply ronald.akins@sccpss.com. I'll put that in the chat for you as well. You can reach out to me. Again, you can reach out to your school's work-based learning coordinator, again, or your counselor, or one of your CTAE teachers for that link so that you can apply. So I think that's all of the questions we have here. Again, please make sure that you complete the attendance link. If you have any additional questions, reach out to us with the SCCPSS School Counseling Department. We'll do our best to get you the information. We're going to have a follow-up session to this later in February, so be on the lookout for that information. It's also posted here in our studio. A reminder for you, you can subscribe to SCCPSS Counselors so you can get those alerts when we're having these sessions. And we just want to thank everybody for joining us today and being with us. Thank you so